Very, very smart play by Fire D. And although we did have very similar creeping patterns by Insomnia, Insomnia, having had such an open base design, having had suffered some of that loss here, just in this little tier 2 push, I guess, little tier 2 harassment. It's not looking too good. Looking at food counts, 32 out of 34, not that big of a difference here. But again, this Panda is going to be, we are still going to see Spellbreakers again this game, but we're going to see the Panda doing some very good Breath of Fires, not so much on those Spellbreakers or near them. He's going to be able to use it effectively at taking out more and more peasants and taking out more and more of those early footmen and the priest, obviously, when they start coming out. So the first unit you typically get when you're going to be going priest and the Spellbreakers is those priests. Getting those priests is a really big thing, so you can have that early healing. And again, if that's something your opponent isn't doing, then you're going to have that healing. So Scroll of Town Portal canceled by Insomnia. It looked like he was trying to TP in there. Sorry if I missed the little whatever just happened just there, but it looks like the Town Portal actually got cast or canceled or something like that. So again, this is what we're seeing. He had just killed off a lot of peasants earlier on with just his Archmage and some footmen, and now he's bringing his Panda in here just to wreak havoc, However, since a lot of the peasants are gone now, and a lot of Insomnia's peasants are actually up in the north position, this Panda in the back isn't really doing a lot. And he was actually positioning those to maybe target on some wood peasants. However, you'll notice that Insomnia is just bringing his peasants out. He does not want to lose any more. I think he has just a few left, but he actually ended up working out pretty good in that situation. And the same thing that happened last game. We had to see a forced town portal here by Fire D, so even taking out some peasants, having to waste that town portal here. And now that he's using his peasants to speed build this town hall, is in a kind of a risky economic position. But because he was so aggressive in that early game, he can afford to do these kind of things. He can afford to burn that TP. He can afford to speed build his town hall at this time because he was able to put so much early game economic pressure on Insomnia here. So Panda's doing a little bit of blocking for that Archmage. Those two Water Elementals trying to pick him off. Again, when there's no units around, to really target that are low. If there's no weaker summon units, obviously you see that Fire D is actually targeting Insomnia's lava spawns, because if you wait a while and they actually run out of their spawn timer on their own, they actually split, I believe is how it works with them, with those lava spawns. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's how it works. If you kill them before that, you don't have to worry about the split. So we have actually seen Sorks over the Spellbreaker so far for Insomnia, and again, or for Fire D, and that's going to be something different that he's able to do now because of that early game, or that tier 2 push, those two tier 2 pushes into Insomnia's base. So you can do something a little bit different to keep things a little bit different. So obviously mass casters being used in human mirrors is a very common thing. You don't typically see rifle. I don't typically see teching to tier 3, lots of towering. It's not as common in the mirror matches, whereas it is more common in undead and night elf matches, where you're playing against human, or where you're human versus those two races. So again, if you're watching these replays, a little tip for you guys, again, holding alt and seeing what the pros and the semi-pros and whoever you're watching the replay are, see what they're targeting. Even if you're watching your own replay, and let's say you lost the game and you're analyzing your own replays, see what your opponent's targeting. And, in the next matches, if you can see your opponent's targeting those units again, you can say, you can kind of learn from that and say, hey, that's a popular unit for people at my level to be targeting. I need to really pay attention to that. So this Panda is going to go down here for Fire D, which is actually going to make this game last a little bit longer. He wasn't able to run it back in time. You can hear my dogs probably shaking off their collars right now, just waking up from their little nap. Anyway, obviously Fire D losing a lot on his heroes, but he's doing actually pretty good in the as regards to keeping his army alive. We're at 42 out of 35, 42 food compared to 35 food for Insomnia. So he's definitely got the army advantages. He's able to do these little hit and run tactics and get up some levels on his Archmage as well, or get some more experience on his Archmage. Actually, they're pretty even as far as hero levels are concerned. Now, sorceresses, kind of a strange idea to go sorceresses. Again, the majority of the front lines for for your human opponent in this instance are going to be spellbreakers. So sorceresses are kind of effectiveless versus that. But again, that'll help. It helps for chasing heroes. Chasing priests down. You can cast slow on them. But again, priests have dispel, so I don't know. Sork's kind of a very strange selection. Usually, it's more spellbreakers and more priests. Sorceresses are very, very counterable. And obviously, even summons are kind of counterable in this situation. You know, priests, especially when they get their upgrades, their one upgrade to the adept research, they have that area of effect dispel, which will, you know, help obviously get rid of slow, but also getting rid of the summons and stuff. So priest very effective versus fire lord. So these tavern heroes, you know, you got to know how to use them correctly, not just go them because you see the pros going them. You know, having all those summons by the fire lord and the archmage, that's very, very counterable by priest. So you got to know that those are going to be your counters, and priests got to be your target. You got to take out those priests so he can't do that so much. Make them waste the, you know, maybe the dispels on slow rather than your summons, so you can make better pushes going on. You'll notice a lot in the pro replays and in the semi-pro replays that it's not usually fights in their base that determine the match. It's normally fights outside the base, and, you know, the players, you know, will say GG because they know that there's not a lot that they can do to continue the match, and that, you know, given the opportunity, the other player can push into the base and end it, so there's just no point to playing the match any longer. So we're going to actually see that again in this match. They're not going to have a big fight in their base at the end of it, but we'll see a big final match here. So level 5 Archmage for Insomnia, very nice. That means he's going to have those level 3 water elementals, which are going to be nice for taking out those priests. It's a lot of piercing damage, and if you can get him into the right position, it's going to be good. We are going to see level 2 Breath of Fire by this level 3 Panda for Fire D, and level 5 for both Archmages. So again, there's just that piercing damage for each other's priests, which are very nice. Let's see what's going on here. So Spellbreakers are used to transfer Bloodlust from those Ogre Magi camps that they just finished creeping out. And now we have a final fight going on at the expansion by Fire D. Now normally when one player opts for the expansion, this is where you're going to actually see the final fights happening, because if Fire D can beat off Insomnia at this point, well, it's a little dirty, I guess, but if he can fend off, let's just say, Insomnia at this point, Insomnia will have lost so much, and Insomnia knows that Fire D has that expansion up and running and pumping, is going to be able to fortify his army with even more units, and will easily be able to fight or be able to make the push happen. So taking a look at, you know, target choices, again, you'll notice that they're targeting their priests and things like that. And sorry, the game just ended, so you probably weren't able to see too much of that. But again, priests are the main target there. I've said it probably like 6 times already during this audio commentary, and that's, you know, whoever can kill off the most priests and who can ever get the economic advantage, you know, that's who's going to win these matches. So try to really be paying attention. The big thing I want you guys to take away from this audio commentary is, you know, timing obviously is a big thing. Determine what you can successfully get away with at certain points in the game. From the first replay, obviously, we're seeing that, you know, you can reasonably assume that your opponent's going to be creeping rather than harassing you. So you can decide that, you know, hey, can I creep these 2 lower level camps? Is that better? It's definitely safer, but I can risk a little bit more and get a better item and clear off a really heavy creep camp early on. You know, obviously creeping off, I'm talking about the Kai versus Spile game earlier on that we did. So that'd be a little bit more interesting. And for this, and then hero selections, the next thing you want to take a look at. A lot of it has to do with player preference. You know, I mean, maybe you're better with Panda and you're just more familiar with him. So Panda's a very, very popular choice with you know, lots of, you know, races. Obviously, Panda very, very powerful with Breath of Fire and Drunken Haze combinations. But, you know, kind of realize what army combination you're going to be up against. Panda's really effective versus non-magic immune, a lot of low HP units. So if you're up against a lot of ghouls, let's say, or a lot of low HP gargoyles or footmen or archers and, you know, things like that, you know, that's where, you know, those Breath of Fire really shows its power. When you're up against the mirror match and you know you're going to be up against Spellbreakers because it's the common unit selection, I think the people who diversify generally come out ahead. Obviously, in our second match, we found out that the Panda was still very effective at taking out the Priest, which kind of attributed to, I think, Fire D's win in that. But I think the majority of that didn't really come down to his hero selection. I think Fire D won that because of his 2 big hits that he was able to do and securing his economic advantage at that particular point in the game. So, hope you guys enjoyed these audio commentaries. Hope you human players are enjoying the kind of rush of human audience we've been getting lately. And I thank you guys for listening to my audio commentary. I've been rambling on more than I should at the end of audio commentaries. So appreciate you guys listening, and I look forward to your PMs and your comments and criticisms. Have a nice day, guys.